Hello again friends, I'm Tanvir and this is the sixth video of this series. In this video we have prepared our project and it is ready for coding. And first thing we will do is in our source folder, right click on it and click a new folder, click a new package. Yes, click a new package. It will actually create a folder in the source folder inside the project. That's not the important thing. Just name the project as persistence tire. This is just to have some very basic separation and have some separation of concern. That is, just name anything, but it is better to have persistence tire. Click finish. In the same way, right click, new package, name it as presentation tire. Click finish, and in persistence tire, right click, click on new and click on a class. We can click on class, but we can also click on this JPA entity. Click on it and click the name of the class. It will be like our database table. It is like the name is here is example table, so name that as something example example table. Click on next. Just keep it same as default. Click finish. It is generating a basic template and it will have it here it is, and some basic functions, and it is an entity, and it is giving an error because it is not actually added to our persistence.xml file. It is importing the most important Java classes, the serializable class and the serializable interface. It is an interface that is here. It is implementing, our class is implementing serializable. Any persistent class that needs to communicate with the database need to have this implementation. Okay, I'm not getting into details, just going to code and going to run this project. It is showing me this error because it is not included in our persistence.xml file. Double click on this persistence.xml file, click on this add button. No, not there, here. Oh, it is already added. Managed class, it's good. And the table, you need to have the table name, this table, and it will be name. We know the names. Example table, as in the database. Here it is showing this error because it is not actually included. You can just right click or click on this section here, and there is no entity. Oh, okay, there is no primary key defined. Okay, we do not need this constructor. You can just ignore it, delete it. We also can ignore the serialized version UID. This is a Eclipse thing. This helps in serializing things. Just keep it as it is. If it is so, we can delete it too, but just keep it for now. And now we will actually have to create the same attributes that were there in these columns: ID, name and role. And so we will actually have an integer which will be private int, that is the ID, then private, and that is the string, that is the name. Then we have another integer, the role. and here this ID needs to have the ID modifier, the annotation. Click on save, and there is the error has gone, and it is saying that there is unused sections because there is no getter and setters. We do not need any getter and setter for the ID. We do not need any setter for the ID, but we may need getters because we do not need to actually give any value for the ID because it is auto incremented. We can have the getter and setters now. Right click, source, here is generate getter and setter, select. This doesn't necessary, you can have we can ignore this setter and we can just get. We have names and roles for both setter and getter. Here we go, we have our persistence XML class ready. Example table. It's very simple class. We can expand on this window. We have the column names. You can separate it a bit. This is, ignore this one for now. This is the ID, this is the primary key. So every entity must have the ID annotation for a single column, so it is handled internally by JPA. For now, let's run this. Before that, let's create a named query which will help us to select all of the data from this table. Let's name it select all. Let's have a table name, the table name or the example table for separation, so that there is a prefix before any query that we may write, like select all and the query. This is JPEG URL, so we will discuss on it maybe later. Let's just say select et from example table, because the class name here we need to use the class name rather than the table name. Example table is the class name, and we need to give et. This name is the name that is we are selecting the whole row from this table one by one, and the whole table ultimately. Okay, so save it. Let's create another class in our presentation tier. Right click, new class. Let's just click on this. It will have a main method. Click on this and let's name it tester. Click on finish, and it will be having the main codes of our project, the code that will actually fetch the data from the database. So first we need to do is a try catch block, because there may be some internal errors, and it is a requirement that we create this or write this code inside a try catch block. There will be an error thrown if we do not do this, because internally it throws an exception. We can do is throw it to the JVM, but it's better to catch and handle it inside the main method. So let's start coding. First thing we do need to do is to create an entity manager factory. Entity manager factory EMF this is a abstract method, so let's just follow my code. persistence dot create entity manager factory. Here we do need to give the persistence unit name. I am going to talk about it now. In the persistence.xml, just look at here in the general section, name is example.jpa. Copy it. In the source section, you will see that there is this persistence unit. The name is given example_jpa. This is the string that we need to pass here. This is for using multiple databases. For now, let's just skip on extra details. Next we have to do is create an entity manager. Entity manager em. We will make use of this entity manager factory dot create entity manager, and at the end of this section we will close off the entity manager factory.